Hello my loves, and welcome back to a new video. Now today we're going to be talking about the misconceptions about demons and the hidden truth about demonic entities that most people don't actually know or are aware of. Now, demons have been known throughout thousands of years across all different cultures, religions, and so forth. But most people still have quite a misunderstood knowledge about them. So this video, like in my misconceptions about angels video, is going to be going over the common themes that people don't truly understand about them. Also the topic of possession as well. Now with demons, most people think of typical Hollywood exorcist films, things that people say in the Bible and that sort of thing. Christianity, out of, most religions, seems to be the main one that pushes, this concept of evil, demons hurting people, causing harm and so forth. So with Christianity, again, I'm not completely going to be bashing it in this video. However, they only seem to sort of know half-truths when it comes to demonology. Ironically, most priests don't actually get educated on the topic of demonology. It is a very small thing that actually goes around in the church. Ironically, so only a very small percentage of Catholic priests, etc., are actually exorcists and trained in exorcisms. So, and they don't actually do it in the best way either. So I will be covering why most exorcists don't work and why it actually is not the best way to banish or remove demonic entities that you feel may be attached to someone. Now with demons, it's important to understand that they are of a Luciferian consciousness. So it really is understanding the difference between Christ consciousness and Luciferian consciousness. Now, with Christ consciousness, that is basically when your thought forms and energy and consciousness aligns to the values of Christ, which is about love, compassion, empathy, being of service, and so forth. With demons, their energy and consciousness is the complete opposite of that. So when I say Luciferian, it's all about separation. It's all about the ego. They're void of love because they're not about unity. They're all about being isolated and independent. They are very separate from source. They are separate from God. So with demons, they basically are the pure consciousness of narcissism and, on steroids. So they cannot get energy from source. So this is why demons have to seek energy and getting their needs met from external sources. So this is why they go around hunting out prey, because they cannot get energy from God, from source, from the universe, whatever you want to call it. Because they are separate from that. So like narcissistic people, they seek supply. They are energy vampires. They have a very parasitic energy to them. However, that being said, there are many different hierarchies of demons. So they are low ranking, like angels and benevolent, higher vibrational beings. There are many different types of demons. So there will be lower ranking ones, ones that aren't so powerful, ones that are drawn to certain different things that aren't as harmful. So it can literally be demons that are just drawn to suffering, people who are very greedy, people who want to obtain things, want to own things, more just lower vibrational energy that isn't so severe. But then you get the higher up demons, more powerful ones that require and hunt out greater forms of energy, much more powerful energy. It's important to understand the difference between them, as not all demons are the same. They vastly differ in energy and what they hunt and what they seek and what they want to obtain for themselves. And with demons, they will hunt and seek getting their needs met by any means necessary. So some demons won't actually cause that much harm, but they'll just cause that person to be in a lower vibration if they are attached to you, which most people do have demons attached to them, by the way. But again, it depends what sort of demon they have. So some will literally just make a person sometimes overly greedy. They'll feed that thought form. They'll make that get amplified. So demons can amplify your ego. They can amplify your negative traits, your subconscious traumas. That's what they are drawn to. However, the important thing to understand with demons is their needs are never met. So basically their hunger is never satisfied. And this is the worst danger of demonic entities, is it doesn't matter how much power they obtain, it doesn't matter how much they get from someone. Like a narcissistic person, they will never be satisfied. They will keep hunting, they'll keep wanting more and more and more, because like a vampire, their hunger is never quenched, their hunger is never ever satisfied. So they will continually be hunting that out, they'll continually be hunting that energy. And this is why it's very important to obviously protect yourself and repel that sort of energy from interfering and influencing your own thought forms. Like I was saying earlier, a lot of people actually do have lower ranking demonic entities attached to them. I call these astral parasites, but they actually are a form of demonic energy, because basically these lower ranking negative entities, they attach to many people. So because most people will have some sort of trauma, some sort of subconscious wounding or negativity, and this is what basically lets them in. So I will be talking about the several things that actually act as gateways where they let in demonic entities within your aura and attach themselves to you. So the main thing that lets in a demon is your own thought forms, because that is basically what a demon is. So you can conjure them by how you think. You can conjure them by how you act, how you treat other people, how you feel about yourself. So if you have any sort of severe trauma, that will be a magnet to a very negative dark entity. And they'll feed upon it. And this is where people can get stuck in victimhood. This is where they can get stuck in never being able to heal, because it acts like a vicious circle, and then that energy keeps feeding that demonic entity, and then that's where they get trapped. So this is why sometimes good people suffer, because many people turn very bitter towards, you know, spirituality or God even, thinking, why do good people suffer? This is why. Because trauma is one of the main gateways that can let in negative beings. So it doesn't mean that you're being punished or you're not being protected by God or your spirit guides. It means that you have got this very negative energy within your soul, within your auric fields, even sometimes astrally. So astral generational curses, and your ancestors can even have contracts with demonic entities from their time. So that's a whole other thing. It can bleed in onto you. So this is where they can get attached to you, let in. But one of the main things is our own pain, our own suffering. So if you've gone through any form of abuse, especially in childhood, this would have been a huge magnet to them, because that has now tainted your energy. It's tainted your thought forms, your subconscious programming, and then that acts as a gateway and lets them in. So this is why exorcism isn't always enough to remove entities, because if you don't heal yourself, if you don't change and alchemize your pain, your thoughts, the way you act and think, the choices you make, you'll just let in another one. So this is why, like I was saying earlier, exorcism isn't the best way to banish a demon. It can give you a boost, it can like get rid of it like temporarily, but if you continue to keep letting them in and you continue to stay in that low vibration, that low frequency, and your energy is very weak, another one will hop in, or it will literally come back to you. So this is where Christians don't understand a really important aspect of protecting oneself from demonic low vibrational energy is you being responsible for your own thoughts and well-being. Because every single human has free will. So there's a very important law that demons and angels must obey, and that is respecting and understanding that every human has free will. But that being said, this is why they try to find loopholes. They try to find gateways so they can merge into you, become enmeshed into your aura and energy fields. So they can then influence you more and more and more. Because a demon and angel can't just outright control you, you know, randomly. They can only influence you. But there are certain things that can let them in. So other than trauma, the second most potent way that people make soul contracts with demons that let them in, that allow them to puppet them, is basically when they adopt their own satanic Luciferian consciousness. And this is basically when someone acts narcissistic, when someone has or embodies narcissistic traits. That is a very strong beacon and magnet to demonic energy, because they know that you are very easy to manipulate because you are like them. You become a perfect match to that vibration, because people with empathy and love, they're not a strong vibration to demonic energy. They can't easily be influenced because you have too much empathy to go and hunt or hurt other people. Because with certain demons, again, it depends what sort of demon, but certain demons are very attracted to narcissistic people. And this is why narcissistic people actually do act demonic, because a lot of the time they do have an entity that's actually heavily puppeting them, influencing them, and amplifying the already dark energy that they possess within their auric fields. So it makes it, you know, multiply and makes them actively hurt people, actively grow their ego. So it's very difficult to pull these people back into the light, sometimes almost impossible, because they have now become completely enmeshed with that demonic being, with that entity. So unfortunately, the cycle just continues, and then the narcissist acts as a perfect vessel to go around hurting other people, especially people who are very giving, very empathic, very kind. You know, people pleasers. They will just destroy these people, or then move on to the next, and then move on to the next. So they go around their life literally acting like a demon, and this is feeding the demon, and they love it, because that's the energy that they want, and that's the energy that they need to survive. And another very important aspect to note is with possession. Possession is not like the movies. At times it can be intense, and it can be you know, quite brutal, seeing someone actively trying to fight a demon possession. But when someone is actively possessed, it's very quiet, because like with a narcissist, they have merged into one being. So proper, completed, you know, successful possession is basically goes unnoticeable. That person literally now acts demonic. That person now is the demon. So they have enmeshed and become entangled with the subconscious of the demon. So with Hollywood films, you know, and, you know, some people even exorcists, they massively over dramatize people who are, you know, possessed. Because a lot of people will actually be mediums. A lot of people can channel, especially natural born mediums, more so women. So when you actively are going through what you would typically see in a movie, where you're getting harassed, tormented by dark energy, having nightmares, you're getting taken over by something, you're speaking as if you are the thing, that's not actual possession, you know, in the way it is, but it's more so channeling. Because real possession is when you have connected completely to that being, and it's very difficult for them to now be removed. Now, another way that acts as a gateway for demonic beings to get to you and influence your field and your thought forms and consciousness is living within demonic environments. So this is why typically in movies you'll see, you know, a nice, fresh, happy family, you know, moving into a new house. And then all of a sudden they start experiencing hauntings and dark things start happening. It breaks the family apart. You know, they all turn a bit sick or depressed or anxious. They start to get bad luck. This is because they are now living in an environment where it's extremely cluttered and heavy, tainted with dark thought forms, demonic thought forms that overpower their own energy. So, because everything is energy. And this is why it can happen like that as well. Although rare, but this is why some people will experience these sort of things and then they feel fine as soon as they move out and go to a new environment or a new place. And I know from experience, when I've lived in houses that had very dark energy within them, you'll probably feel like you're constantly tired, or you just, as soon as you get into that house, it's like you feel like shit. But then as soon as you leave the house, or you go on holiday, or, you know, just out of it, it's like, oh, I feel, you know, you feel alive again, you feel normal again. This is because something would have happened in that environment, or a demon would have resided in that environment, maybe attached to someone who previously lived there. Or something very demonic happened in that place, like a murder, like abuse, you know, SA, I don't want to say it, you know, dark things could have happened continuously, heavily in that environment. So it's almost become like a curse. That house in itself becomes a curse, and it affects anyone who like goes and resides in that place, until someone of a pure light who is powerful enough can help transmute and cleanse the energy from it. So this is important to know. Also with objects, if you get, again, very rare, but if you were given an object that may have been used in a ritual, or you've bought something in like, you know, an exotic country, or vintage objects, a piece of furniture that would have been owned by like a Satanist or something, you know, anything like that, it may have an imprint of very dark energy. It can be cursed. And even more rare, sometimes energy and negative entities can actually be attached to things like dolls, ornaments, and that sort of thing as well. So if you've had any problems within yourself, and you notice it since you've bought a new object, especially something that's old or given to you by someone, get rid of it. Now, the next way that acts as a gateway to let in demons is drugs, sex, and alcohol, especially drugs and alcohol. So basically, whenever you're engaging in these sort of activities, you are opening your aura. And like I was saying earlier, most people are not protected when they open their aura, because most people have dark energy. Most people who are drawn to drugs and alcohol normally have a lot of inner issues, depression, or whatever the case. So you're literally like opening the door to your aura. So if you can imagine, you have like a shield around you of energy, and as soon as you are drunk, like really drunk, as soon as you are very high or out of it on drugs, it literally creates holes in your aura, and then things can like penetrate you. Even the word alcohol actually means flesh-eating spirit when you look at the etymology of it. So alcohol, you know, is especially a potent gateway that's unfortunately very normalized. And I'm not saying just, you know, a little bit of wine or, you know, a beer here and there. Obviously, that's fine. I personally have no alcohol at all. If you are a clairvoyant or a medium or very connected to the spirit world, then I recommend you don't have alcohol at all if you're a very potent empath. But for most general people, it normally happens when you get drunk, or when you have, you know, more than 1 or 2 beers. So that's when, as soon as you start to feel basically drunk, things can get in. This is why people black out. This is why people get excessively violent when they're drunk, or they do things that they wouldn't do when sober. They become extremely promiscuous, or they literally black out, but they go around acting like someone else and they can't even remember what they've done. In that case, that's when something literally has taken over your body. So alcohol is way more dangerous spiritually than what people realize. The same, of course, goes for drugs, you know, especially obviously class A, very dangerous drugs, all the typical ones. But even psychedelics can at times let things in as well. They're not always safe healing plant medicines. Even things like excessively smoking marijuana, that can open your aura and things can come in. Anything that turns into addiction is a demonic entity attachment. So if you have an addiction literally to anything, that is some form of astral parasite that's very much attached to you, because there is a demon of addiction and it will feed it and feed it and feed it. So this is why you literally have to starve it off. And then once you starve off that demon, don't go back to it, because then again, it's like you've just opened that door and then you're letting it back in. So it's kind of like, you know, with your front door of your house, you're just letting in like burglars and people to like rob you and shit. It's the same with your aura. So you have to be very, you know, wise, very mature, have great discernment when it comes to what you consume. The same goes for very demonic music, very demonic TV shows. Again, now and then it's not going to like create any sort of demonic attachment if you know, hear it a few times or watch a horror film. But if you're someone who excessively listens to like mainstream music, pop music especially, that is a recipe for disaster, and you're very much becoming and tuning your energy to demonic influence massively, because music is one of the biggest weapons that dark forces use to influence you. It's massively influential because it's basically a spell. What music is spell work, it's chanting, it's witchcraft. And if you're listening to mainstream pop artists, especially, you know, like Doja Cat, Billie Eilish, you know, Beyonce, Jay-Z, Rihanna, and many rappers as well, people, even Sam Smith, you know, people who have clearly sold their soul. If you're listening to their music, which normally is all low vibrational, egotistical lyrics or flat out demonic lyrics, yeah, you're becoming a match to demonic influence hugely, because that all that's doing is putting you in your ego, is shutting down Christ consciousness, and basically massively influencing you to become Luciferian and narcissistic. So I actually did do a whole video on my Patreon exposing Doja Cat and decoding the occultic demonic symbolism in her newest video, Paint the Town Red, which is heavily demonic. So if you want to see that, then click the link down below in the description box. If you want to join my Patreon, that's where I post all my uncensored, darker content that I can't post on YouTube. So I've got a lot of content on there all about celebrities selling their soul, the rituals that they have to do, and all of that. So moving on, sex as well can be a very powerful way to conjure demonic entities. So this is why with people, you know, genuine Satanism, not soft Satanists, by the way, that I call the New Age Satanists. I mean genuine Satanism. They will commonly use sex in rituals. They'll do sexual orgies and that sort of thing. And it goes hand in hand with blood sacrifices and, you know, all these very dark things that happen. This is because sex is a very powerful gateway. It's a very powerful form of energy exchange. So if you are having sex with someone who is like heavily drinking, heavily taking drugs, you know, a very toxic, dark person, someone who is very much into dark occultic shit, anyone who has any form of like really bad addictions, that will infiltrate you. That will contaminate your aura. The more you heighten your own frequency, the more sensitive you'll become, and then that person's energy will affect your energy. You know, you can actually get sexually transmitted demons, not just STIs. So if someone has a really, you know, potent, if someone is riddled with demonic attachments, they will infect you. You know, they will literally be trying to feed off you as well. So it's very important to pay attention to the sort of people you allow into your life. And it's not just sex either. Obviously, that's the most extreme, you know, form. And this is why it's not a good idea to just be going around on Tinder, shagging strangers, because you have no idea who that person is. Like, you could literally be sleeping with someone who is like a serial killer, and it doesn't mean that they're going to kill you, but they have those thoughts within their mind. You could literally be sleeping with someone that has such dark demonic energy that gets pleasure from people's pain, or who just is riddled with astral parasites. Like, you have to be really careful with your energy, what you consume, you know, not just with your mouth, but with your eyes, with your ears, and of course with your sexual organs, like what you consume, who you consume within your own body, who you connect with. And the same goes for like friends, acquaintances. If you have friends that are like heavy drug users, heavy party animals, who just basically indulge in very low vibrational things, their energy will start to influence you. So it's very important to understand and have the discernment to recognize, you know, people's actions What do they do? What are their morals like? Are they kind people? Do they have love? Do they have empathy? Are they working on themselves? Are they very giving? Are they very kind? You know, if you're hanging around people with dark energy, addictions, just, you know, very narcissistic people who don't give a shit about anyone but themselves, they're just always me, self-serving. They have a very big ego. They just chase money and status and fame. You know, they don't really give a shit about anything else other than themselves and fulfilling, you know, getting attention or whatever the case. Just basically fulfilling their own ego and desires. That energy starts to rub off onto you. It will start to weaken you. It will start to drain you, and they will literally be feeding off you. So that will weaken your energy over time, making it easier for things to penetrate you. Because the weaker your energy gets, the easier it is for things to start to attack you, for things to start to influence your own thought forms. So this is why it's very important to pay attention to who you allow in your life and who you allow in your circle. And it doesn't matter whether they're friends, family, you know, long-term partners. It really doesn't matter, because if you can see that they have a satanic energy, you need to distance yourself from them. Or, you know, just try your best to be obviously of a good example. But if they're not willing to learn, if they're not willing to come to the light, you know, you can't force them. So this is where you have to, you know, keep healthy boundaries at all times. And you don't lower yourself. Don't allow yourself to give in to peer pressure. Because these people, if they are enmeshed with a demonic entity, with which a lot of people are, they will try to influence you as well. They'll try to bring you down. So they'll be the ones going in your ear, oh, let's go partying, let's have a line of coke, you know, go shag that woman. They'll do anything for you to like be influenced in a negative way. So, and sometimes this can be even more sinister and dark, because with demons, they're extremely cunning. They're very intelligent, especially higher ranking ones. So they'll know your biggest weaknesses. They'll know your most desperate desires. So if you're very insecure and you're constantly seeking like validation or approval from people, they will play on that. So they play on your weaknesses. So this is why you must do your own shadow work. You must become very self-aware. Otherwise, it's so easy for people who are demonically influenced themselves, or worse, possessed. They can easily influence you to become a very dark person and then completely lead your life into chaos and destruction, or sabotage your own life. So, you know, and then you're the one left to pick up the pieces, right? So it's very, very important that you have that discernment and you don't allow anyone to destroy your peace, anyone to bring you down, and really pay attention to people's morality. Really pay attention to how much empathy and love that they genuinely have. And don't just listen to their words, pay attention to what they do. And if they only do good things for you because they expect something in return, so everything is transactional for them, that's not love. Because remember, they're very cunning. So, you know, like narcissists, which a lot of them will be, you know, sometimes they can love bomb and people please and trick you, manipulate you and believe that, oh, look what I'm doing for you or whatever. But in reality, they're only doing that because they want to get something from you. And then they'll drag you down later on or whatever. So be very, very cautious with who you surround yourself with. Now, the last way that is quite an obvious way to, of course, let in any form of demonic beings is those who engage in any form of black magic, or sometimes occultic practices that are a bit more risky, such as doing seances, using a Ouija board, you know, doing mirror work. You've got to be careful, but especially a Ouija board. So doing anything where you are directly trying to conjure or connect or speak to a spirit is very, very risky, because that is you literally directly speaking out and trying to get their attention. That is you literally speaking out, trying to get them to notice you. So you have to be very cautious when doing these things. And I don't recommend anyone does a Ouija boards or seances, to be honest. I mean, some seances can be done, but they've got to be really, really, really careful and done by powerful mediums who know how to protect the whole circle, who know how to banish something if it's like demonic or dark, who can get rid, who have, you know, a lot of light within them. They've got to be really strong. But I do not recommend people doing a Ouija board, because most of the time they are a recipe for disaster, because you don't know what you're connecting to and what you're going to let in. So don't play with fire. Of course, another way is if you actually have someone hex you, if someone does some sort of hex or curse, that of course unfortunately can allow or send demonic entities to you. They can, you know, cause havoc, cause harm. But again, it's really understanding that even if they do that to you, and again, I'll probably do a different video on this because it's such a deep topic, and it really depends on like what sort of demon you have. Because again, you can't just use it as a scapegoat and then blame any form of bad luck on, oh, demons are fucking me over. Because it's not that simple. Sometimes it can just be your own karma. It can be lessons in disguise. It can be, you know, just things that you are actually being tested with. So sometimes, you know, a demon will actually cause chaos and be a blessing in disguise on a deeper level for your own growth, because you actually need to do something or learn something. But even if you are someone who gets, who has been, you know, affected by black magic, and again, this is quite rare to be honest. I went through it myself, and it was something out of like the Twilight Zone. And so I know it can happen. So it's so broad, it's so complex. Because many, you know, it's not cookie cutter. There's many different things that can cause black magic to infiltrate your life or family. And a lot of the time it is normally generational things, generational curses, or just because you are someone who's very bright, someone who's got a very important mission, and then that taps into the whole spiritual warfare thing. So they don't, that you're basically a threat. So they want to kind of shut you down. They want to like shut you up. So it prevents you from healing and helping other people. But even if you're someone who has unfortunately been hexed or cursed or whatever, or has something within their, you know, spirit, their generational line, that negatively influences you, you can still break it. You know, humans are vastly more powerful than you realize. Like, you have free will. So you can break free from it. And the most important thing to banish a demon is to change how you think, what you choose to do, how you treat people, how you treat yourself, and also to not have fear. So one of the worst things you can do as soon as you feel like, fuck, I'm cursed, or you're getting attacked, you're having night terrors or whatever it is, you know, you just feel a dark presence, is most people automatically go into fear, and rightly so. But this makes it worse. This feeds it. A really good movie that actually shows this is the remakes of It. So I don't know if you remember, but in the end, you know, obviously the evil clown It is actually a demonic entity that shapeshifts. He's not actually just a clown. He shapeshifts to people's deepest fears. So at the end, when they're fighting it, you know, he'll shapeshift to each one of the characters' deepest fears. So it'll be like, what, a demon dog, you know, a spider, you know, whatever it is. And this is because that's what they're trying to do. They're trying to conjure the most fear out of you. And it's only when the kids stop fearing him and they fight against him, he has no power over them anymore. So this is such an important thing to do. And it is, of course, one of the most hardest, is to eradicate fear. When you finally choose to fight against it and you don't fear them, this massively reduces their influence over you. But in order to do this, you have to be so clean. Your energy has to have enough chi. So it all goes like hand in hand. So physically you have to be strong, mentally and spiritually. So this is where you have to look after all three elements of your aura, of your body, of your mind, because it takes a lot of energy to protect yourself against such, you know, negative influences. Of course it does. If it didn't, then everyone would be running around happy, but they're not. You know, let's be real. Most of society is pretty messed up right now. And our whole society is designed to make you fail. It's designed to keep you suppressed, keep you down. You know, unfortunately, that's how the elite have conjured it to be. They want you to be sick, depressed and scared. And then this acts like a vicious circle, and then it feeds demons, and it just makes everything worse. So you have to be the one to be strong, to really switch on your warrior modes, to look after yourself physically, mentally, spiritually, to conjure up enough energy to fight back, to protect yourself, to purge it all out, you know, face your inner demons, acknowledge your shadow. You know, because demons a lot of the time act like a shadow, because that's what they feed off. They know you better than you know yourself. So if you have like very deep triggers, that's what they play on. That's what they'll try to conjure in your life, to feed off you, to weaken you. Sometimes demons can actually be like a blessing in disguise at times, the lower ranking ones, because they can actually just be like the opposite of a spirit guide, whereas they act like a shadow guide. So if you have like a very deep wound that needs addressing, that needs healing, they'll massively trigger it. They'll bring it to the surface. But this is, you know, the more, not empathic, the more lesser evil demons that do this. Because remember, there's many different types. So these demons can actually be, you know, somewhat helpful, and they have a silver lining to them. Because once you conquer that shadow and then you banish them from your life, you now become stronger, you now become more healed. And then it can massively transform your life for the better. So this is why sometimes you actually do have a contract with a demon to learn, to have a certain challenge. This is why it's not black and white like Christians think it is. It's very complex. It really, really depends on who you are, what karma you have, what lessons you need to grow through. I mean, some demonic entities are actually appalled by how humans are, how humans behave. You know, some demons aren't as dark as like higher ranking ones. Some demons are literally just very tired themselves, and they kind of want to be in the light. Kind of like when you see someone, a human who's lived their whole life just doing bad things and being a horrible person. They hate themselves. And then they one day have an epiphany of just like, I'm tired, you know, I want love, I want to be a good person. They crave, they hear that calling. Some demons are like that, and these are normally the ones that a powerful medium or healer or oracle or witch can actually transmute. Because if you reach a high enough level, it's been documented by occultists like Dion Fortune. I remember reading in one of her books that she knew an occultist who reached such a high frequency level that he could literally conjure a demon, make it go inside his own body, and then he transmuted that demon to light, and then it was no longer a demon. It completely alchemized its energy, and then it was sent up to God. It was basically no longer dark. Now, this is probably one of the most hardest things that a human can do, is like pure Christ consciousness, you know, Jesus level shit, or Buddha. And, you know, you have to be a very powerful, enlightened, very loving, no fear, you know, being to do such a thing. So please do not try this. Please don't. Do not try to conjure or pull demonic entities to you to try help or heal them. Because a lot of the time they won't be wanting it, by the way, not outwardly anyway. You know, this man actually kind of removed this demon from someone, and then he alchemized it sort of against its will, but then once it was done, it was very thankful for it. So again, kind of like when someone is like a drug addict, they're very defensive, they're very angry, but then it's like once you actually help them heal, then they're very thankful, and then their light comes back. So some entities can become like that, but it's more so demonic entities who were once human. So sometimes your ancestors can actually turn demonic because of the extreme trauma and pain that they would have been through. So sometimes they'll actually act dark and try to protect you. In their minds, they think they're protecting you, but they're not. They're causing more harm. So for example, if you had an ancestor that was brutally raped, tortured by men, and you're a woman, she may get activated every time she sees you get into a relationship or fall in love, and then she'll try to sabotage it or break you up or whatever, because in their minds they think that they're protecting you, but they're actually just causing more harm than good, because they're so dark, their energy becomes very distorted. they become a lost soul. They become very demonic themselves. So this can actually happen, and these are the ones that you can transmute and heal, not the higher ranking ones. So the ones that were once human, the ones that have like manifested like that, or sometimes people can actually create demons themselves, form their own thought forms. You can actually conjure a demon through your own abuse, through your own pain. And again, Dion Fortune actually done this by accident in one of her books. I can't remember what book it was, but basically Dion Fortune was a very powerful occultist in like the 1920s. So she actually had a bad breakup and she was thinking very dark, negative thoughts. And because she's a powerful medium, she actually created, because remember, humans can create. You are creators. She actually conjured and created from her own thought forms a demonic energy. And she saw coming out of her chest this black mist that manifested as a wolf with yellow eyes. So it turned into a very demonic black wolf that went on to then attack her classmates who were sleeping in the next room, and they saw it. So once she saw and understood, shit, this is what I done, she had to call it back into herself, which she had to do later on, and alchemize it back to love and light and basically banish it. So sometimes, you know, not all demons are actually like higher ranking entities that are like separate, living in like different astral realms, different dimensions. They can be conjured from your own thoughts. You know, humans create a lot of demons themselves. So, or their ancestors, or a human soul literally turns demonic. So it's a very deep, very complex topic. So if you yourself are confused, or you may feel like you've gone through some sort of dark attachment, or you have a dark attachment, or you feel like something is not quite right, or with your ancestors or family, if you need help with this, then I do offer one-to-one readings. So I offer spiritual guidance, and I can basically try to see and have a look what's going on and help you heal, and advise you on what to do. So if you want that service and you want to book a one-to-one oracle card reading, then please go and click the link down below, as always, through my link tree in the description box. And please be aware that there are unfortunately fake Instagram accounts of me. I do not ever message people offering card readings, so please understand that's a scam, that's not me. Also, I only have one Instagram only, at j.shinyu. All the others are fake. So if you have anyone messaging you or adding you and asking or advertising for readings, please understand that's not me, so please report and block them. So that being said, what do you think of demons? Have you had any experiences yourself? Let me know in the comments down below. Please like, subscribe, and click the notification bell. You know, share this video with anyone who you feel will needs help with this topic. What else you want to know about them, let me know if you have any questions about it. So please feel free to comment any questions in the comments down below. Share your own experiences. And until next time, my loves, I'm sending you so much love, so much light. Ahimsa.